Sunday, so yeah, I'll be here the 20th.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. At this time, I would ask everyone to please rise, and Councilman Evans will be leading us in the pledge, followed by the prayer.
Easy for her to say.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, thank you so much for the opportunity that we have here to serve the citizens of Boonville. I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Please always help us to do what's in the best interest of the people we serve. Bless our team tonight as they play baseball, Lord. Keep them safe from harm, and bless us as we travel home to our homes and our families. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Kari.
Yep.
Which one?
Is that not apropos?
Very well done. Mary, when you're ready, if you would please call roll.
Evans.
Here.
Meadows.
Here.
Beach.
Here.
Hurt.
Here.
Carter.
Here.
Ehlers. Here. Heaton.
Here.
Young.
Here.
Thank you very much. Nice to see everybody this evening. Hearing of citizens' comments. If we have anyone here this evening who would like to come forward and make some comments, this is the time to do so.
My name is Debbie Inskeep, and I'm here on behalf of everyone that lives on West End Drive. There is some trees in front of 513 West Spring. When you go to pull out of West End Drive, you cannot see at all. You have to ease out there. By the time you can see, you're already out there. The trees are so thick you cannot see. They're at night even, the car lights. They are way up in the power lines. Over a year ago in July, I called ML. Nothing was done. September, I called the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
She did come out, and she did say they was on the city right-of-way and could be cut down, and turned it back over to ML. The trees are still there, and a lot worse. My parents are elderly and have almost been hit several times. Everyone on the street has signed a petition because they have all about been hit, and anyone that uses the street. So we really need to have something done with those trees. And not just one tree cut down, they all need to go, because you cannot see.
Okay.
So,
Debbie, do you have a copy of the petition?
I do.
With you? Okay.
So
if you could present that to the city clerk, and she will verify the signatures.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
And did you sign in by chance?
I did not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Debbie. Anyone else have a comment to make this evening? Seeing none, we'll move along to approval of the minutes of the September 15th council meeting. Those were in your packet, and you've had a chance to read those. Did anyone have any additions or corrections? Seeing none, they will stand as presented. Consent items, we have none this evening. Presentation of accounts and claims. Mary, when you're ready, if you would please read that.
Ordinance appropriating money. Be it ordained by the Council of the City of Boonville as follows. Section 1. For the purpose of paying salaries and various accounts against the City of Boonville, which have been allowed by the Council at the regular meeting thereof on October 6, 2014, the sum of $709,635.23. General Fund, $333,126.84. Sanitation, $16,327.63. CIP tax, $21,809.76. Waterworks, $133,695.90. Capital projects, $81,595.47. Wastewater, $76,363.31. Tourism, $13,627.43. Gaming, $33,088.89. Parks and Water, 0. Section 2, the bookkeeper is hereby authorized and instructed to draw checks on the respective city bank accounts in favor of the persons whose salaries and accounts have been allowed as above, amounting to $709,635.23, being the total amount of money above appropriated. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from and after its passage. First reading on October 6, 2014, read for the second time the 6th day of October 2014, since a copy was made available prior to the meeting.
Second reading, title only.
Ordinance appropriating money.
Mayor, make a motion this be approved.
Thank you, Morris. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ned. Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Evans?
Yes.
Meadows?
Yes.
Beach?
Yes.
Hurt?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Ayers?
Yes.
Heaton?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Unfinished business, we have none this evening. New business, item A, first and second reading of bill number 2014-023, authorizing supplemental STP urban agreement.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing execution of a supplemental STP program agreement by and between the City of Boonville, Missouri and the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission, providing an effective date therefor and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance. Whereas the City of Boonville executed the original STP program agreement for the Locust Street Kemper Drive Street Repairs Project, STP 1300-508, as authorized by ordinance number 4328 on 21 October 2013, and whereas the supplemental agreement simply modifies the original project schedule by extending the advertisement for letting, bid opening, and construction contract award dates, and whereas the City of Boonville initiated this project schedule change to provide for a construction schedule that is more accommodating for the middle school adjacent to the project Locust Street construction site. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that the City of Boonville, Missouri shall accept and execute the supplemental STB program agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for certain street improvements for Locust Street, Kemper Drive, designated federal project number STP 1300-508. Section 2, that the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri does hereby ratify and adopt all statements, representations, conditions, and covenants contained in the supplemental STP urban program agreement. Section 3, that the city administrator is hereby authorized to execute said supplemental agreement on behalf of the City of Boonville, Missouri, and the city clerk is hereby authorized and directed to impress thereon the official seal of the city and to attest said execution. Section 4, this ordinance shall take effect and be enforced following approval by the City Council. Section 5, all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed. First reading, October 6, 2014. Read for the second time and passed on the 6th day of October 2014, after a copy of this ordinance has been made available for public inspection prior to its first reading.
Second reading, title only.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing execution of a supplemental STP program agreement by and between the City of Boonville, Missouri and the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission, providing an effective date therefor and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Mayor, I'll make a motion this be approved.
Thank you. I'd entertain a second. Becky, second. Discussion, Earl, did you have any comments you want to make on this?
Now, this involves primarily the work on Locust Street by the school, between the library and the school, and we were trying to frankly delay the project so that the construction could happen when school's out rather than while school's in session.
Questions?
So it would be next year.
It looks like the construction award would be completed on 4/15, so according to the project schedule on the back.
Yeah, hopefully a little ahead of that. That's the deadline. So.
Okay. Okay. Any questions? Roll call.
Evans,
Yes.
Meadows,
Yes.
Beach,
Yes.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Ayers. Yes. Whedon,
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Item B, first reading of bill number 2014-024, approving settlement with CenturyLink.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, approving a settlement with CenturyLink and assigning a percentage of the settlement proceeds to the Missouri Municipal League, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Reports of standing committees. Park Board, Steve?
Oh, the minutes are in your package. If there's any questions, you can ask me or Gary.
Okay, any questions? Okay. Item B, Board of Public Works, Morris?
Routine committee meeting, got any questions? You got the minutes.
Okay. Reports of city officials, City Administrator, Earl?
Okay, I want to give an update on a couple of the projects down at Kemper One Science Hall. You recall, a couple of months ago, we awarded the contract for the asbestos and mold remediation on the building. We were doing that as a separate step prior to the major contract for the renovation. That project was finished last week and inspected with a walkthrough, and they got the air testing and so forth approved, so that part of it's done. Gary's going to put some dehumidifiers and so forth in there to at least get us to winter without the mold returning. So that part of it's done. We also had last week had a sort of a progress meeting with the architects and the construction manager and so forth on the overall project. DNR has now signed off on all the particulars that they were looking at, wide-ranging from windows to fire escape to placement of elevator, So they're done, albeit with some cost, you would assume. The expected date on having the final plans completed by the architect is November 1st. After that, the next step would be bidding, but you can't go to bidding until the EDA says you can, so you have to send the stuff out to them. So we can't predict how long they'll take to review that and get back to us. The most optimistic date for, I guess, occupancy would be January of 16. That's the most optimistic. Assumes everybody quickly turns things around, which is probably not likely to happen. So I'd say that's less than 50-50 chance that happens, in which case it probably defaults to the summer of 16 or the fall of 16. So, any questions on Science Hall? The admin building. You recall we were going to pursue the little grant program for brownfields program on that. The first step was to establish the baseline for the contamination in the building so it could be formalized and put on record. And that was to be done by some people that were a contractor to the DNR. That was done shortly after Labor Day. We haven't seen the report yet, but it should be forthcoming soon. The next step is to then transfer ownership so that we can make application to the program for up to $100,000 to assist with the cleanup. You recall the city can't be the applicant because we're considered a responsible party, whereas if you establish the baseline up front and then transfer it, all that's on record, you're not the responsible party then. So once we transfer the property, then we'll make that application and try to go forward with the work. Megan has started working on that and has a draft of the documents to do that, and that might be on the next agenda, certainly by November. We'll probably take one more run-through with the state folks with the EIERA on the program to be sure we're all okay on that, given the apparent strangeness, I guess, of the arrangement that they actively promote. So I recall when we transfer this, it'll probably raise some people's interest. This is solely a means to the end. It's not permanent. Once it's cleaned up, it comes back to the city. It's just to get it sort of in an innocent party's hands for a while. Also, we have to give that, whoever that party is, the money to do the match for the program, because they become the owner of the project, not the city. So the bids or none like that will come here at that point. So we have to give them the money for, to help match the cleanup, insurance, et cetera. So we have to do that along the way too. But once that's done, we come back to the city, and then we can proceed with just straight bids for demolition. So, any questions on the admin building?
I got one, Earl. Did I understand you right? Once we switch ownership, they have to do that entity will do the bid process?
Right.
Okay. And then they'll secure the bid, give us the amount, and then we'll give them half of the kind of, in a nutshell.
Whatever the match is, yes, along with some miscellaneous expenses, so. Okay, we're also working on some grant applications. If you recall, this is about when we applied last year for the bunker area and the bridge and Spring Street and so forth. Some of those are due in November, and we are reviewing some various projects on that, and we probably will review those with you at the next council meeting, since the applications are due in early November. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Earl. Mayor, I do have a couple of things. First of all, I received an email from Joan Reed, and she could not be at the meeting tonight, and she asked me to make this report. It's a follow-up on the Missouri River Relief Cleanup. On Saturday, 9/20/14, 200 volunteers cleaned 2.5 tons of trash from our riverbanks and river. We had a lot of out-of-town volunteers. Estimates are around 1/2 of the volunteers were from Boonville. The Missouri River Relief crew loved Boonville. It would be great if you could provide this update to the City Council. So, another good thing that Joan Reed has done for our community. And the other item is, I left a copy of this on at everyone's place. This ad was in Friday's Boonville Daily News, and I'm assuming it might be in again. This is regarding a public hearing and a request for public comment. This is not, we did not put this in. This is put in by the Central Missouri Community Action Group and the Missouri Housing Development Commission. The Missouri Housing Development is considering a request for financing or housing tax credits for the development that was discussed before us several months ago by CMCA. So they are moving forward in requesting some public funding. This is the project at the end of Cherry Street, out where the old VFW is. The public hearing is Wednesday, October 22nd at 1 o'clock at Stony Creek Inn in Columbia. And I know a lot of people are going to ask, why is it in Columbia? And I remember that's the one on Kemper Village, or Kemper Greens was in Columbia, so I have a feeling that's where they have to have it. You may attend the public hearing, and they will accept and record all public comments, or if you're unable to attend, you may submit written comments, and it gives the address. So if you have people that are interested in this, please make sure that they know this information so that they can go. And I think it would be good if some of us could go, and I think there's several that have already said that they would be glad to attend. So here again, spread the word on that if you would, please. City Councilor is not here this evening. Economic Development, Dr. Dan.
Good evening, Council. You have my monthly report in your packet. I'd just like to highlight a couple things and then respond to any questions that you may have. First of all, under Section 1A, CORE has recently hired a director to assist the 5 counties, of which we are one of those. A gentleman by the name of Joel McNutt has been hired. He is formerly a project director with the Missouri Department of Economic Development, very knowledgeable in the area, and is really seen kind of as a force multiplier for all the counties to use. So he came on board October 1st, so he is just getting started. 1B, we did have a visit to our bakery that was not fruitful, and the reason it was not fruitful ultimately was because the process that our bakery used was dissimilar from what this company needed. So that is why they chose not to move forward on any action. But interesting, though, is the delegation that came up, the lead-off question, which really kind of rocked me a little bit, was, why is Boonville so bad for business? And so I think I responded, Earl witnessed it, so I hope I responded appropriately, is to say, well, how did you arrive at that question? I said it nicely, but in essence, there was a feeling that because in their mind, everything is closing here, therefore we must be bad for business. I mean, that's how they weave that together. So I offered to make introductions to our manufacturers and employers for them to visit with, but I think in the end that probably didn't have anything to do with their decision, and I think we laid a couple quarts of charm on them while they were here. So, but anyway, that's how it started off. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. On item 3, economic gardening activities, I just wanted you to know that my engagement with local businesses on a one-on-one setting is increasing and starting to pick up. Over the last month, I've met with 4 to do business counseling, confidential business counseling, and 1 new, 1 starting, and 2 existing businesses here in town. So just wanted you to know that activity is picking up. I'll skip down to 3C, is that the classes where we scholarship Cooper County residents are continuing. Understanding financial statements was not as highly attended as social media, but that's okay. 3B, just above that, is that we will be having a pitch competition to pitch a business here in town prior to next April. I am chairing that effort for the 5-county core region, and the concept is that each county will have a play-in round to an ultimate event, where last year the grand prize was $5,000. So for a starting business, that could be important. 4F, one thing that I think is going to be very good for us as a community is that Wilbert Meyer, the chair of the IDA, has been chosen as a board member on the board of the Missouri Innovation Center, which is the life sciences incubator in Columbia. I'm not sure when his term will begin, but that will give us some purview into or insight into what's going on at the Innovation Center in Columbia. 5A, I've been working very closely with the schools to get an alternative energy technician training program up and going, as I've reported several times. What's interesting is that we keep finding more and more people from around the state who want to support us in this effort. So that's been really interesting, is that it feels like we're starting to get some very positive momentum in the school district's world to get that done. 6A, Project Egg, just wanted you to be aware that that candidate or that company was the recipient of a very significant USDA grant very recently. 8, I'll skip on to item 8, is that the IDA and I are continuing to work on strategic planning. That continues. And then item 8B, it seems like for several months I've told you the revolving loan fund packet is ready. Well, I'm reporting that again, is that it's ready. If you'll recall, we had some question arise as to what was sunshineable of personally identifiable information from an applicant, and we've worked our way through that. We think that we have that appropriately identified now, a pathway. So that's my report. I'll certainly answer any questions you may have or any other topics that are on here. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Thank you, Jim. City Clerk, Mary, do you have anything?
I have nothing to report.
Miscellaneous.
Mayor Thatcher.
Yes.
I just thought I would mention that this Saturday we have 165 hookers coming to Boonville, rug hookers.
Good.
You got
Don't be
dancers.
alarmed.
Yeah, you got dancers.
Yeah, we've got them coming in from Indiana, Texas, Omaha, and Kansas and Iowa, so we're
Great.
gonna be out at Knights of Columbus for the day and
Very good.
rug hooking.
Good. Cool. That's a nice thing for Boonville, I know.
Yeah.
I've
They
attended
love
a
to come.
few, you've done this how many years?
This
have you
is
been
our
doing-
5th year.
Fifth year.
Yeah.
Most
We're-
of them stay overnight.
A lot of them do, I wouldn't say most of them, a lot of them travel in that day.
But you have lunch catered in?
We're
and-
having lunch catered by Taylor Bakery, and we're having breakfast from Old Settlers Inn, and sponsors around the community bringing in door prizes for the hookers.
Oh,
and-
cool. I've dropped in a few times, and it's pretty interesting to watch the hookers work. So I'm sure they would welcome some
Oh, yeah.
visitors.
Anyone is free to come in and just see what that's all
My
about.
mind is racing.
So, well, thank you, that's
Mhm.
very good, very good. Morris?
We had the complaint about 636 Chrome at the last meeting. Has
Yes.
anybody did any checking on that, or?
Oh, yes, Megan is working on that. Do you want to report on what?
Yeah, we met with the owner of the property and reviewed what other properties they have, and of course, was it the Sheltered Workshop, UOI has a similar activity, so we've reviewed that, and she's reviewing the ordinances we have to see if they apply, and if so, how,
Good.
and so it's progressing.
Mhm.
We'll have something, perhaps next meeting or the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
She's doing a very thorough
Yeah.
look at it, so. Any other questions, comments? ML must have something he wants
I've
to
got a
share
quick
with us.
update on advanced disposal. Earlier in the summer, advanced disposal throughout their entire service area or nationwide experienced a series of layoffs. In that round of layoffs, we lost a municipal contract coordinator. She was a lady in Macon who dealt with us on our invoices and miscellaneous things like the fuel surcharges and things like that. They eliminated that position, and that individual was laid off. And then they reassigned the duties to other people in the Macon office, and they divvied it up among 2 people that I know offhand. In middle of September, they had a second round of layoffs. In that round of layoffs, Boonville operations lost their dispatcher, so they no longer have a vehicle dispatcher here. And those duties from the Boonville operation area were also consolidated into several people in Macon. On top of the layoffs, Advanced Disposal has experienced at least 2, and one of them serious equipment deficiencies. Last week they had a vehicle wreck where a truck, as a result of that heavy rain on Wednesday and Thursday, turned over. That wasn't a Boonville route, that was a rural route out of the Boonville office. However, when they lose a vehicle, it's a domino effect, so trucks had to go somewhere else. With that vehicle wreck, they've lost a driver. The driver was out and is still out, but minor injuries. He wasn't a critical injury, but he's still out. So again, it's a domino effect. When you lose a driver and a truck, the routes have to double up. They've also had equipment problems with the backhoe at the transfer station. The backhoe was down today. Crown Power and Equipment was in town trying to repair the thing when I left work, and I don't know the status on that. But the problem with the backhoe being down is they can't load in compact trailers, so there's some temporary closures of the transfer station. And I'm not surprised on the backhoe. That environment down there is brutal on a machine. We had the same problems when we ran the transfer station, keeping that backhoe operational. So that's a cruel coincidence. On top of all that, in the last 2 weeks, they've had personnel turnover, and they've got 2 new drivers. One driver is new on the Boonville route, and one driver is new on the near Boonville route. So the route that is not necessarily in the city limits, but most immediately adjacent, if you will, to that. You take all this, you sum it up, and in the last week, we've seen an increase in complaints, missed stops, late stops. So they're struggling. They've made some efforts to try to cover this, and they were making some improvements up until the truck wreck last Thursday, which kind of ruined everything they had done. They had rerouted some trucks that were on commercial routes in Columbia and things to try to cover the gaps with the new drivers and double people up who knew the routes and things, but that all fell apart when the truck wrecked and you lost the driver and the truck there. So you will see some complaints. Send those to us, send those our way. We're gathering those up. We visit with the local ops manager several times a day to make sure that he knows these complaints. He generally knows about them before we have to report them, but we still want to make sure that we express the complaints we've received.
Okay. Any questions for Mel? So if you get a complaint, call 5257, 882-5257,
Well,
let you know?
In theory, you should call 882-7595.
Okay.
In reality, because there is an increase in complaints and those numbers are forwarded to Macon with the layoffs and the doubling up, there's some hold time. You have less hold time. You talk to us, you get your complaint on paper, and then we communicate with the trash folks. So try 7595 to do their system. If that doesn't work, 5257. That's
Okay.
us.
Very good. Thank you very much. Any other miscellaneous? Seeing none, I would call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I hear a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Thank you very much. I didn't know if you could...